Greetings, sirs and madams. I'm Seraphic Zero, and we're playing Monster Hunter World Iceborne. So, from what I've been hearing from a lot of my viewers, we're all primarily Lance players, is that we've been having a ton of trouble with the final boss of the story mode for Iceborne. And to be honest, I had a lot of trouble against the final boss as well. So, what we're doing here is, obviously this is not a speed run. And if you're looking for a speedrun, just go away and come back later. Like, I do intend to do a speedrun of Shower Isvalda later. But what we're doing today is a run against the final boss with rank-appropriate gear. This means I have everything I have you can actually make before you fight the final boss. And this way is, I'm doing this pretty much to just show, how you should approach this monster. So yeah, the first form of Shara is basically our pet rock coming back for revenge, and it's a little anticlimactic, but I just use a Farcaster at the start because what we want to do is get this Slinger Torch at the very beginning, and we're just going to restock our items. I think Capcom should probably patch the first area to just give us Slinger ammo somewhere, like in the actual map, so we don't have to Farcaster like that. It's a little silly. But anyway, yeah, this monster has two forms, and it's complete damage sponge. Thankfully, both forms are weak to ice, so that's why we're using the Ectus. And I think the rock form, it's actually fairly weak to blast status, so you can break the rocks off faster with it. So if you want, you can actually switch between two sets. Just remember, you'll have to use a Farcaster to get back. Okay, so what we're going to do is, behind me there's this little sulfur spot on the wall, and it's a special trap spot where if you Slinger Burst the boss into that wall, it'll actually give him a hard knockdown. If you knock him into a regular wall, he won't fall down, so use that. And this part's going to get a little stale, so yeah, just drilling damage into his head. He does give you fairly long openings to do Tenderize with Clutch Claw. And Lance has kind of an issue here because, like a lot of monsters, the Lance actually reaches too far. So if you're right on top of him, you'll actually stab through the weak point and hit somewhere else where you haven't tenderized. So that gets kind of annoying sometimes. But anyway, we're just gonna drill damage into his chin until all the rocks break off, and then also as soon as he drops more Slinger ammo, we should be able to knock him into that trap a second time, and then at that point the trap breaks and you can't use it again. But usually by then you'll get the second phase. Okay, so here's an opening for us to do Tenderize, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that because yeah, it doesn't last quite that long. So I did see that Slinger ammo on the ground. Let me go grab that. Okay, let's take a second to talk about the set. So, I'd say the only required skills for Shara when you're lancing are Mire Walker. It's not obvious now why you need it, but crap, I'm bouncing on the arm here. At Purple Sharpest, no less. But anyway, you'll need Mire Walker for the second phase. I'll point that out when we get there. You need Guard 5 for the second phase, and you need Guard Up for the second phase. And for this first phase, I think I fought it with Guard 3 the very first time I fought it, so I think maybe Guard 3 is sufficient. Oh yeah, and one more thing, this boss is immune to sleep status, very similar to Xeno'jiiva, but you can paralyze it. So I have Guapo equipped with the paralysis flower thing, so your cat probably won't get a lot of openings to land hits on this thing, but yeah, paralysis works where sleep will not. And weirdly enough, against these really slow bosses, these are the only few hunts where I sort of recommend that you don't use Offensive Guard. I only have Offensive Guard 2 on this set, and not because I was trying to build for that, but I just happened to have Offensive Guard mixed with Attack, so I was trying to get a lot of attack on this set. Okay, so for this mix set, I'm using Master's Touch, which is 3-piece Teostra. You can actually, fight Teostra before this final boss. And Master's Touch is not necessary for this hunt. although not having to sharpen is a lot safer than trying to find openings to sharpen when you're fighting him in second phase, because honestly, the second phase is horrific and cheap against lance players, and messing up an opening and getting hit it's probably going to get you comboed to death. So you should probably have some sort of sharpening strategy. I'm actually carrying wetfish fins with me so that I can sharpen faster in case my purple sharpness gets reduced. Okay, so the lance we're using is Ectis. If we use handicraft with it, we get purple sharpness. Oh, and I think we're entering second phase now. So when he's shedding the rocks, we want to go ahead and guard because he does tremor twice, I think, and once he roars, you can go ahead and sharpen. Alright, there we go, fully restored our purple sharpness. So, yeah, so as you can see, it is a totally crazy looking, like, motherfucker underneath. It's pretty much the same size and body type as Xeno'jiiva. And he attacks with these back arm, limb, wing things. And they fire seismic beams, or frequency beams, which are... I believe they require guard up to block, and they cause a ton of knockback even with guard up. And yeah, this thing is probably its most dangerous attack against lances, so I went ahead and used my temporal mantle to just go through the attack without having to screw with it. Otherwise, the other ways you can deal with that, the beam wall, or the beam curtain, is you can guard advance through it, although if you mess up your timing, you're going to get chipped to death. Or you can actually use, crap, what is that stance called? You can use guard shot stance with L2. So guard shot stance actually has a higher guard level, and with guard 5, he actually won't knock you back. So you'll take more chip damage that way, but you'll survive it, so that's kind of the more important thing. Okay, so let's talk about our strategy for fighting him in Phase 2. So, his only obvious weak point is his head, and that's really hard to reach, just like Xeno'jiiva. And so what we're going to do is we're going to tenderize his arms, and, tenderize his head when possible. You might need to use your mantles to actually get those tenderizes in. Oh, and get the hell out of the way of this. Yeah, if I didn't have Rocksteady on, that probably would have gotten me hit really, really hard. Yeah, but, yeah, this beam, you can... It's actually not as wide as it looks like it is, so just move to the side. Don't block right away, because, that's going to put you into the wrong stance. Yeah, so we're going to tenderize the arms and just hit him in the arms until he falls down. Also, I find that his chest is a fairly good weak point if you're trying to damage him, but it's not really obvious to me how you tenderize the chest yet, or if it's even possible, but I'll look in how to do that later. Okay, so, yeah, when the boss... Well, that was a really lucky flinch. He was about to bite me. Yeah, so when the boss is not enraged, you can actually knock him into walls and do the clutch claw attack. There are only 3 spots on the map where he can be knocked down, and it's those little trap areas. Although his frequency beams actually destroy those traps, so it's actually very hard to get that off, and I actually don't manage to do that during this run, so kind of unfortunate. Okay, watch out for this attack. Whenever he does his paw swipes, or paw slams, he's going to combo with the beams, so be very careful. This boss is very combo heavy, so you have to really know the openings well. Oh crap. Yeah, so that was a little cheap, so he turns around really fast and did the curtain. The curtain's very wide, so I got hit. And worse, even worse than that, these sand pits, when he does the seismic beam, it actually causes the sand pits to explode. Yeah, I just got hit by a sand pit explosion right there. So yeah, those sand pits are incredibly cheap and awful, because if you don't have Myra Walker, you'll walk through them very slowly. When they shake, they cause tremor, so you're trapped inside them. And then they can also explode for extremely high damage and extremely high knockback. So they are just incredibly awful. Okay, so there's another example. We shouldn't respond to him by just blocking and holding our ground. See what attack he's using first, because a lot of times it's better to just, well, sort of your only choice to survive is you have to dodge or get out of the way instead of blocking everything. yeah, this boss is very, very anti-lance. So yeah, let's resume our strategy. We're just gonna stab him in the arm. Alright, he is readying up his super attack. So he's gonna go to the edge of the arena, and I recommend actually the best position is behind his tail, and you can actually do damage there. But yeah, if you're at the edge, you're safe from that explosion, but you may need to Superman dive. And right after the explosion goes off, he likes to do another attack. So yeah, incredibly cheap that he doesn't have any cooldown on that. Okay, so I tried to tenderize the arm because I kind of needed the opening, but it got me hit. Yeah, both my mantles are on cooldown, so that's a little unfortunate. And I can't see what he's doing right here, but yeah. So this beam attack, it gives you a pretty good opening to just do whatever to him. I saw that he's not enraged, so let's go ahead and wall bounce him just for a little damage to the face. And there is a part break that you can get on this face by breaking the face twice. It's a little difficult to do if you're trying to just hit him in the arms to knock him down. Generally, he'll die before you can break his face. And yeah, these sand explosions have a ton of knockback. It's better to try to guard dash out of the way. Okay, yeah, so we're not going for a face break today. We're just trying to kill him without dying too badly. But yeah, if you do mess up a few times and get killed, don't worry about it. Like, I know I died a bunch, like, just trying to film this this hunt for you guys. He's a really cheap boss. He just combos you to death all the time. Like, really slow attacks, but huge area of effect. And, like, he always combos things into each other. Yeah, like right here. I probably shouldn't have countered that paw because that beam came out really fast and it just hit me in the back. Okay, so yeah, I really like to use guard dashes and leaping thrusts to get out of the way of the beam, or the charge beam. Okay, he has a charge attack, so let's go ahead and chase him. Ooh, let's move to the side, we don't want to get stuck in that. Yeah, and here's where I mean where the beam's actually pretty narrow, and the recoil on the beam is actually fairly dangerous, so make sure you don't stand in one place, just keep moving forward towards the boss. So I need to re-tenderize that arm. I'm looking for a safe opening. I think I actually had an opening earlier, but I was trying to be more careful. I don't want to get killed by accident. Okay, so we got our tenderize. He's using the wall attack. So after the first few seconds, if you're at the side, you get a pretty good opening. And as you can see here, generally... Oh, there he goes. Yeah, generally the safest place to be positioned for this boss is at the side, so you can attack the arms. Although, just stay on your toes because he does turn around very fast after every attack. Yeah, so that was 11 minutes 41 seconds. That is a lot better than my 40-minute kill time on my first attempt. Yeah, I was using guard 3 at the time, so... Yeah, anyways, so the only requirements here are Mire Walker, guard 5 and guard up. Everything else is just cheese. And, you know, since I'm using a Master's Touch strategy, we do want to pump affinity as high as we can. So that's where we're using crit 7, attack 4, and weakness exploit. So, yeah, this... yeah, normally I would show you the eyeballs, but weirdly enough, this boss monster's model actually doesn't have eyeballs. So yeah, that's a little unfortunate. I think they were going for some other like effect where he's always looking at the screen and creeping you out. But yeah, so there's a hunt with the lance using rank appropriate gear. I'd say 11 minutes is it's a pretty good time considering I don't have any augments. So yeah, I think I probably could have dropped that time by another minute, like if I wasn't so hesitant at the end, and probably another minute on top of that if I wasn't getting hit as often as I did. Yeah, so there's Shara, a boss that I think is really cool, like really cool design and a really cool theme. Like the frequency beams are awesome and the music is fantastic, but just the cheapness and the anti-lance moves drive me up the damn wall. So hopefully you enjoy that hunt. As soon as I have all my stuff augmented, we'll come back and attempt some speedruns on this guy. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.